Alright people, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. On this channel, I teach you how to get a job in a bad economy or in a recession. I specialize in federal government employment. I am a current federal employee and I've been one for the past 10 years. I started out at the TSA and today I'm at US Immigration. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to build your federal resume. A lot of you have already contacted me and I've spoken with you one-on-one and you've asked me to record videos on different topics. I have them. Those videos are coming up. A lot of you have already told me that you have interviews with the TSA coming up. After this video, I'll be doing a video on federal interview skills. I'll talk to you about the structure of a federal interview and the types of questions that you will come across. If you want extra help with interview prep, my contact is in the description. Go ahead, send me an email. I will always respond to you. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to build your federal resume. Federal resumes are very different than the ones that you have in the private sector. The information that you put on these resumes are very specific. And you have to have certain pieces of info because if you don't, it gets tossed right out the window. I have templates already drawn up where I will show you how to build one. When it comes to building your federal resume, there's one very important thing that you have to pay attention to. It's keywords. When it comes to keywords, there's two things that you have to understand. I will explain both. Number one, you have to actually understand what keywords are. These are certain words on the job posting that pertain to the primary functions or skills required to qualify for that job. The second thing that you have to understand is the frequency that you use the key words. What I'm trying to tell you is the more that you use the key word in your resume, the more qualified you are for that job. What am I even talking about? Okay, let's pretend that the key word or one of the key words for that job is potato. You use the term potato 5 times. I use the term potato 10 times. Just because I use the word potato 10 times and you use it 5 times, I am more qualified for the job than you are just because the frequency that I use the term potato was higher than yours. In the first video, I already showed you where to find those key words. It's in 2 to 3 places on that job posting. If you haven't seen the first video, I will post the link in the description. Go ahead and check it out. Once you have the keywords, you have to do something with them, right? What I do is I develop what's called a keyword bank. I take all the keywords from the job posting and I put it onto a blank Word document. Once I do that, I separate out all the keywords into short fragments or phrases. Once I do that, I have to take those short fragments or phrases and then do something with those, right? So I use those keywords and I add something on the beginning, or I add something on the end and I turn it into a complete thought. Here's exactly what I'm talking about. Here, because everyone is trying to, or not everyone, but a lot of you are trying to get a job at the TSA as a transportation security officer, I'm just going to go ahead and use this posting. It's just easier. Okay, cool. So on the USA job posting, if you look here, once again, I told you the keywords are there. They're here under qualifications and here under how you'll be evaluated. I took those keywords and I put them here on a blank Word document. I highlighted what the keywords are. That way you can see them. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I can take a look at a job posting and I can already spot out what the keywords are, because I'll be honest with you guys, these keywords don't really change that often unless you're applying for like a technical job or something like that. But in general, once you do it a couple times, these keywords, you spot them very quickly. So on the blank document, I put the keywords. As you can see here, I've highlighted what the keywords are. Step 1. Step 2, let's go ahead and scroll down. Here, everything is separated out. So I took out all these words that aren't really being used, all the unhighlighted stuff, and I kept everything here that is highlighted. There's two things on this page I want you to pay attention to. Number 1 is the term public. Number 2 is the term passengers. If you have a job where you don't have to interact with the general public or traveling passengers, it's cool. Everyone has interacted with customers or clients, right? Same thing. What is the difference between the general public and a customer that comes in the door? There isn't one. So I understand that you have to have the keywords in there, but if you're off by 1 or 2 keywords, it's cool. Don't worry. 1 or 2 keywords don't make a difference and they don't put you over the edge. It's fine. Now that we have the keywords separated out, we have to do something with those fragments, right? Here's what we do. Let's go ahead and scroll down, and here I've turned those keywords into complete thoughts. Here's what I'm talking about when I tell you take the keyword and change up the beginning, or change up the end, or change up both. I will go through each example step by step. Example 1, you're changing up the beginning of the keyword or the fragmented phrase, right? So here is the fragmented phrase. Standard operating procedures. Here I changed the beginning of it and I added substance to that fragment. So the fragment is here. Standard operating procedures. The part I added to turn this into a complete thought is this. Standardized employee training program by developing company-wide standard operating procedures. So I put the keyword or the term at the end. I changed the beginning. Example 2. This is when I put the keyword or the fragment in the middle. So the keyword or the fragment is time pressures. And here I changed up the beginning and I changed up the end. Well, I didn't change it, I added something to it in order for this phrase time pressures to be a complete thought. So I put processed and multiple client service requests simultaneously under strict time pressures to meet client demands in a timely manner. See what I did there? I took a short phrase and I turned that into a complete thought. Here's one where I changed up the ending. The key word or the phrase fragment is responding to inquiries. On the beginning, I have responding to inquiries. I added on from customers to provide information about the status of their account. Once again, I took a short phrase and I completed that by adding some substance to it so that it's a complete thought. All right, let's go ahead and scroll down to example 4 and 5. You can use multiple keywords or fragments in the same bullet point. It's okay. In fact, I encourage that you do that because you want to hit those keywords as often as possible. Because once again, the higher the frequency that you hit those keywords, the more qualified you are for that job. Example 4. I have 2 keyword or phrase fragments and I color coded them for you, that way you can understand what I'm doing. And here I put them both in the middle and I added substance to the beginning and the end. So example 4, the first keyword fragment is make effective decisions. That's right here, make effective decisions. And then responding to inquiries, and right down here, responding to inquiries in blue. Here's the whole thing all together. Collaborated with managerial staff to make effective decisions regarding effective sales techniques when responding to inquiries from customers. That is a complete thought. You used the key words and you put it together in a coherent manner. Example 5. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4 keywords or fragments. And once again, everything is color coded. So first one is standard operating procedures in blue, standard operating procedures. Responding to inquiries. Responding to, I split that up, inquiries right here. And then peoples in purple right here. Peoples in purple. And then in whatever color you want to call this. Crisis and routine situations. Routine situations. Let's look at responding to inquiries and peoples. I split that one up. And you can do that if it helps you get your point across better. Let's look at the example. Utilize company standard operating procedures when responding to people's inquiries in both unique and routine situations. Do you see what I did? I basically took 2 keyword fragment phrases and I combined them. And I still hit all the keywords and I composed a complete thought. Resumes. And now that you understand what keywords are, how to use them, and how to turn them into functional bullet points that have a complete thought, you've got to put it all together on a resume. How do you do that? I'm going to show you how to do it. But first, I have to explain the resumes to you. That way you can understand why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. When you set up, format, and build your resume, there's a few things that you have to have on there. If you don't have it, it's going to get tossed out the window. What are those things? You have to have your place of employment. your job title, the address of your employer, your employment dates, the hours that you worked that job, and your supervisor's contacts, such as the name, the title, email, phone number, things like that. In federal job resumes, you don't have a separate page for your references. Your references have to go with the corresponding job experience that you're putting on there. Federal resumes are very different from those of the private sector. On federal resumes, you can have paragraphs on there, but don't use paragraphs, because if you do, it's going to appear like it's a PhD dissertation. Nobody wants to read a PhD dissertation if they're evaluating resumes. Not you or I or the recruiters. They don't have that kind of time. So you put things in bullet point format. It's a lot easier to read and it's easier on the eyes. You put all your keywords in bold and you present every single bullet point that has the keywords first, and then everything else goes towards the bottom. I will show you a template, don't worry. Another thing that makes federal resumes different from the private sector is the amount of pages you can have. In the private sector, you're told 1 page, 2 page, that's it. In the government, you can have 5, 10, 15 pages. So as you go through your job posting, pay attention to page restrictions. There are agencies that will tell you that you can't go past a certain amount of pages. US Immigration, they will stop you at 5 pages. If you go 1 spacebar past that 5th page, you are automatically disqualified from the application process. This is the resume I was talking about. This is very similar to the one I had when I graduated college. And I'm going to go through this with you step by step. Here at the top, you put all of your contact and your name. You can put education on here if you want to. I always put it on there because I sometimes do substitute education in lieu of experience, or I try to go for a 50-50 blend. So either way, I'm gonna qualify on education or experience. That's why I put it on there. Next one is skills. You don't have to do it this way, but I did it this way. One thing I always tell people is don't have a separate skills section, because if you put I can do Adobe, Excel, and all these other things, okay, that's fine. You told me that you could do them, but I don't have any idea that you understand how to actually use it and apply it and do something with it. So all those fancy skills that you have, instead of having a separate section, put it all into here, your job experience. That way, instead of saying I've used Excel, you can actually explain how you used Excel and what you've done with it. Okay, let's keep going down to work experience. Once again, the things you have to have, and here's how I set it all up. My place of employment, the position I held, and dates of employment. Here, the address to this Sam's Club, the amount of hours I put in, and all my supervisor's contact information. That is the job reference. The job reference that corresponds with that job, you put them together in the same spot as I'm showing you here. If you're asking on government resumes, why do I have to have the address of the former employer, amount of hours I worked, and the supervisor's contact all on the resume in the same place? Let me ask you this. Why is the sky blue? Once again, you don't care, I don't care. We're told to do it this way, just do it. Okay, let's keep going. As you can see here, I've used all these key words and I've turned them into complete thoughts. In this first one, you can tell I use multiple key words and I turned them into a complete thought. And it's in bullet point format, and all the key words are bolded. Why did I do it this way? Think about it. When you look at all of this, what stands out at you? Everything that's in bold. And these are key words. So whomever is looking at this resume, their job has become a lot easier because they don't have to hunt for all the key words and all the things you've done. It's all jumping out at them at the same time, and they can just go through one by one and check off that you've done those things. Along with that, you want to use those key words as often as possible. As you can tell here, I just kept using the term maintaining focus and awareness and that whole phrase over and over again, and I kept changing things up and I kept adding things every single time. Here is what I want you to pay attention to. Everything that has key words is up here at the top. It's being presented first. Everything that doesn't have key words is towards the bottom. I'm not trying to say that everything at the top here is any more important than this. All I'm trying to tell you is this is what you want to stand out. These are the key words. These are the things that the recruiters and the hiring managers are paying attention to. Everything else down here, that is icing on the cake. Now, I'm going to show you something. I use the keywords here in this job experience. Keep going down, I use them again in this job experience. For every single job experience that you put on your resume, every single bullet point has to have key words. If you keep going down, again, everything with keywords is towards the top. Everything that doesn't have keywords is towards the bottom. Once again, one isn't any more important than the other. It's just that one set has all the keywords. That's what you want people paying attention to. Everything else, once again, is icing on the cake. Here is the final thing I want to show you on resumes. If you look here, what did I put? Considered an expert by supervisors in all above mentioned duties. Once again, scroll down, I put the same thing here. Considered an expert by supervisors in above mentioned duties. Why is that important? I'm about to tell you. The part about being an expert on everything you put down. First of all, Only put down things that are true and that you did and that you can back up, or someone can back up for you and say, yeah, he's done that, he's an expert. Only put those things. The reason why it's so important is because when you apply for the actual job, there is going to be a job questionnaire that you fill out, and it's going to ask you, have you done this skill? Yes. And then it's going to rank what you've done. What am I talking about? Let me explain. Let's pretend Excel is a skill that you have to have in order to get the job. On your resume, you put, I have done Excel and I'm an expert. When you go to the part on the job application and you start completing the part about the skills, it's gonna ask you to rank your level of experience. And it will have either 4 or 5 choices. It'll have, I don't have any experience, option 1. Option 2, I have some experience. Option 3, I have used it every day. Option 4, considered an expert by supervisor and have trained others. Why is that important? Option 1, I have 0 experience. You get 0 points if you put that. Option 2, I have some experience. You get 1 point. Option 3, I've used it every day. You get 2 points. Option 3, considered an expert by supervisors, yada, yada, yada. You get 3 points. No, I'm not kidding. That's how it works. You have to give yourself expert, 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 expert. Every single skill that's on there, because there's a point value that's attached to it. And the higher amount of points that you get, the more qualified you are for that job based on keywords and the amount of points that you hit. Personal references. When you put these references down on your resume as people that the hiring managers can contact, be very careful about who you put. Only put people that you know for a fact are going to say good things about you. If you have a job and your direct supervisor is a jerk and they always say bad things about you, why would you put that person down as a reference? That's just common sense, right? Cool. I'm sure on the job you have more than just one supervisor walking around. And I'm pretty sure that you're pretty cool with all the other ones, even if that one person hates you, right? What do? Put down the information of the person that you're cool with. So when the recruiter calls the supervisor, they call the person that has your back, and they don't call the person that's going to tank your chances of getting the job. All right, people, if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. This is the first tutorial video I've done. I spent about 2 weeks trying to put this together and come up with templates and examples for you guys. I spent a lot of time on this. Help me out, do me a favor, and at least give me a thumbs up. And in the comments, tell me what you found helpful and if you want me to clarify anything. I've already been in one-on-one contact with quite a few of you, and you've all told me that you have interviews coming up. So I will be doing a video on the federal interview structure. So that's all I've got. Peace out.